3 days before Christmas, my mom asked what my boys wished for this year. They spent hours making drawings and writing letters. But on Christmas morning, every single present they dreamed of was handed to my sister's kids. Mine got nothing at all. I didn't cause a scene, just left. The next day, my grandpa sent me a voice note. I still can't play it without crying. Christmas morning should be magical. But that year, watching my sons' faces fall as they realized they'd been completely forgotten, something inside me snapped. And I knew, in that exact moment, everything was about to change. The air in my mother's living room, usually thick with cinnamon and fake cheer, felt heavier than usual that day. You could almost feel the tension buzzing, right beneath the surface of the crackling fire and holiday music. My name is Liam. I'm 34, a divorced dad to two incredible boys, Noah, 9, and Caleb, 7. My life hasn't exactly been a fairy tale, but we make it work. I'm a mechanic, renting a small apartment, and those boys are my entire world. We play chess, watch old superhero cartoons, and yeah, sometimes I let them eat popcorn on the couch way past their bedtime. It's not glamorous, but it's ours. My family, though? That's a whole different story. My mom has always had a soft spot for my younger sister, Hannah. Golden child, straight A's, soccer scholarships, the works. She's married to Ryan, a finance guy who walks around like he invented money. They've got 3 kids, a perfect house in the suburbs, and an Instagram life that screams perfection. My mom, of course, was obsessed. Every single photo Hannah posted ended up in the family chat. Every tiny milestone, like Owen learning to tie his shoes, got Nobel Prize-level praise. Me? I got polite nods. When Noah won a regional chess tournament, she just said, "Oh, that's nice," and immediately pivoted back to Hannah's family trip to Bermuda. I'd grown used to it. I learned not to expect much. But sometimes, just sometimes, I'd still hope she'd really see my boys. Which brings me to 3 days before Christmas. I was making boxed mac and cheese when my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Hey, what do Noah and Caleb want for Christmas this year? Just curious." My heart actually stuttered. She never asked. Usually, it was generic clothes that didn't fit, board games with missing pieces, or nothing at all. This felt different. An olive branch. I read it aloud, and the boys lit up like the tree we'd decorated. "Can we really tell Grandma?" Noah asked, eyes wide. "Of course," I said. "Write her a letter or draw pictures." They took it so seriously. Spent the entire evening at the kitchen table, heads bent in concentration. Noah drew a remote control helicopter and wrote a detailed, bullet-pointed list. Caleb wanted a big Lego police station and a Pikachu hoodie he'd seen. They even added stars and smiley faces. I snapped photos, sent them to Mom with a quick message. They had so much fun doing this. "Thanks for asking, it really means a lot." She replied with a single thumbs-up emoji. No words. Just a thumbs up. I told myself not to read into it. Maybe she was busy. But she asked. Christmas morning, we were invited to her house. It was a tradition I'd skipped for years, usually some drama or my ex showing up. But this year, I thought it might be different. We got there early. The boys, practically vibrating, bundled in their sweaters. Noah kept asking, "Do you think Grandma got the helicopter?" Caleb was quieter, clutching a drawing he'd made for her. A stick figure version of her holding their hands. Walking in, the smell of cinnamon and pine hit me. Everything looked perfect. A huge tree, fireplace crackling, a mountain of gifts overflowing into the living room. Hannah and Ryan were already there, their kids tearing into presents like a competition. We stood awkwardly until Mom noticed us. "Oh, good. You made it," she said, waving us in. No hug. No Merry Christmas. Just a quick glance at her watch. The boys hovered near the tree, eyes wide. I scanned the tags, to Owen, to Chloe, to Sophie, Hannah's kids. A few nameless ones. I found one for Liam, and handed it to myself with a sarcastic grin. It was a vanilla candle. I don't even like candles. "Where are mine?" Noah whispered. I tried to smile. "They're probably behind the tree," I lied. But there was nothing. Not one gift. Not a hoodie, not a Lego set, not even a stocking stuffer. Mom never even acknowledged their letters. Then I saw it. A remote control helicopter, just like Noah had drawn, being opened by Owen. He screamed with joy, and my mom clapped, beaming. "Just what you wanted," she said. Caleb's face fell as Sophie ripped into a Pikachu hoodie. She held it up. "What's this?" "I don't like yellow," and tossed it aside. I sat there frozen. The boys weren't crying. Not yet. They just looked confused, betrayed. I wanted to scream, to stand up, demand an explanation. But my throat felt like it was closing. I locked eyes with Mom across the room. She looked away. Not guilty, just dismissive. So I stood up, took their hands. "Come on," I said. "We're heading home." "Already?" Hannah asked, her voice dripping with fake surprise. "But we haven't even had brunch." I didn't answer. I just walked out. No yelling. No dramatic speech. Just silence. The boys didn't say anything in the car for a long time. Then Caleb whispered, "Did Grandma forget us?" I didn't know how to answer. That night, after I put them to bed, I sat in the living room, beer in hand, TV off. My phone buzzed around 11 p.m. A voice message from Grandpa Arthur. I didn't even know he knew how to send them. His voice crackled, soft but steady. "Liam, I heard what happened. I want you to know something. Your dad would have been proud of you today. You walked out with your dignity. You didn't let them see you break. I see you. I always have. You're a good man. And those boys of yours, they've got a real father." I've listened to that message 100 times since. Still can't get through it without tearing up. But that was just the beginning. After that Christmas, something in me cracked. Not a loud, breaking glass kind of way, but a quiet splinter, digging deeper each time I tried to ignore it. I didn't confront anyone, didn't send angry texts or block Mom. I just withdrew. Focused on my boys, my work, our apartment that now smelled of the cinnamon candles I bought myself after tossing that vanilla one in the trash. The boys didn't talk much about that day, but the air between us felt heavier. Like they'd added a new file to their emotional archives, labeled "Don't expect too much." I hated that. I started dodging family get-togethers. Skipped Easter. Claimed I had to work over Memorial Day. When Mom texted in June, asking about Owen's birthday, I replied, "Sorry, we've got plans." Which wasn't a lie. I planned to take the boys fishing and cook burgers on our rusty grill. Grandpa Arthur, though, kept calling. Short, kind voicemails. "Don't forget to cover the grill," or "Finished that book you gave me." Good taste, kid. I never called back, but I always listened. Fall came. School routines. My weekends with the boys got shorter with sports and projects, but I held on to them like gold. We carved pumpkins. I let them cover the walls in fake spider webs. I even pretended not to be tired in a corn maze. Then November. Mom sent a group message. "Thanksgiving is at our house again. Noon. Let me know what you're bringing." I didn't answer. A few days later, a private message, "Liam, it's been almost a year. The kids miss their cousins. Can we try again?" I stared at that. Can we try again? Like I was the one who messed it up. Like I was the one who handed gifts to the wrong kids. I didn't reply. Then Grandpa Arthur called. This time I picked up. "Hey," I said. "Hey yourself," he replied. "Listen, I know things haven't been fair, but I'd sure like to see my great-grandsons this Thanksgiving. Can you make it for me?" I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no. I ended up caving. I told the boys we were going to Grandma's. Noah flinched. Caleb asked if they had to bring anything. "Nope," I said, "just your sweet selves." We arrived 10 minutes early, carrying a grocery store pumpkin pie. I even dressed up a bit, iron shirt, clean jeans, brushed hair. Trying. Hoping. The house was full. Hannah's family, Ryan's parents, even my cousin Paige from out of state. People I hadn't seen in years. Mom acted surprised, but not warmly. More like someone whose plans were slightly inconvenienced. She air-kissed me, gave the boys quick hugs. "There's room at the kids' table," she said, pointing to a small folding table. I nodded, set down the pie, helped with coats. Dinner was fine. Awkward. Loud. Forced small talk. Every time I tried to join a conversation, someone talked over me. At one point, I heard Hannah tell Ryan, "I'm surprised he even showed up. He's been so distant lately. Probably still sulking over last year." Sulking? That word hit me like ice water. After dessert, everyone crowded into the living room. Kids ran off to play. I was about to grab my coat when Grandpa Arthur walked in, grinning. "There's my boy," he said. We sat in the den. He pulled a small envelope from his coat pocket and handed it to me. "What's this?" "Just something I've been working on. You'll understand when you open it, but maybe wait until you get home." I nodded slowly. He leaned in closer. "You're a good dad, Liam. Don't let them make you feel small for it." I almost cried right then. Christmas was coming again. And despite everything, the boys, bless their hearts, still wanted to try. They wrote new letters, taped them to the fridge, waited for Grandma to ask. She never did. 2 weeks before Christmas, a group text from Hannah, "Hey guys, we're hosting Christmas brunch this year. White Elephant Exchange. Bring a $25 gift. See you there." No mention of gifts for the kids. No personal message to me. Just a blanket invite. I was going to ignore it, but then Mom called. "Liam, I hope you'll come this year. The kids would love to see you." "The kids?" I asked. "Or my kids?" She hesitated. "All of them, of course." That's when I should have said no. Should have drawn the line. But I didn't. I told myself maybe this year would be different. Maybe last year was a fluke. Maybe I was being too sensitive. So I went. We showed up at Hannah's house on Christmas morning. Boys in matching flannel, clutching little toys to show their cousins. We walked into chaos. Wrapping paper everywhere. Half the gifts opened. Laughter. Mom barely looked up. Hannah waved distractedly. No gifts for my boys. Again. I stood there frozen. Owen tore into video games. Sophie shrieked over a new bike. Noah turned to me quiet. "It's happening again." Caleb gripped my hand so hard it hurt. I didn't make a scene. Not at first. I bent down. "Let's go." But then Hannah walked over, mimosa in hand. "You're leaving already? You just got here." I turned to her, tried to keep my voice level. "There are no gifts for my kids." Again. She blinked, fake innocence dripping. "Well, we agreed on a white elephant this year. Didn't you bring something for the adults? But what about the children?" "Oh, come on, Liam. Don't make this a thing again. Your boys are old enough to understand Christmas isn't just about presents." My vision blurred. Then Mom chimed in from the couch. "You're overreacting. If they wanted something special, you should have brought it yourself." That was it. The moment everything snapped. I looked around that room, at the pile of gifts, the smug faces, the absolute absence of shame. I realized I had spent an entire year hoping for decency from people who saw my kids as afterthoughts, who saw me as nothing more than a moody, inconvenient reminder that their golden family wasn't quite so golden. I walked out again, but this time, not quietly. And when I got home, I opened that envelope Grandpa Arthur gave me. What I found inside stopped me cold. A handwritten note on yellowing paper, Grandpa Arthur's neat hand, and beneath it, a photocopy of a legal document. The note read, "Liam, I never wanted to get involved, but I've watched too long. Your father would have wanted you to have this. I hope someday you'll understand why I waited." The document was a notarized copy of an ownership transfer. A third of the family property, the old farmhouse, the adjoining 2-acre lot, the barn, was in my name. Signed over by my dad before he passed away nearly 15 years ago. Dated, witnessed, legal. I sat there stunned. That property wasn't just sentimental. It was the crown jewel of our family. My mom had always talked about it like it belonged to her and, by extension, to Hannah. She rented the land to a neighbor for organic produce, collected a nice check every season, talking about it as a family legacy. But according to this document, 1/3 of that land was mine. I didn't know what to do at first. It felt too big. I tucked the papers into a folder and shoved them into the back of my closet, a relic I wasn't ready to face. In the weeks after Christmas, I hit a low I hadn't felt in years. Not because of the document, but because of the silence. No one checked in. No one apologized. No one asked why I left brunch without a word. My phone stayed quiet. The boys were quiet too. Noah stopped bringing up family. Caleb asked if we could have our own Christmas next year, just us. I told him yes. And that's when I knew something had to change. I didn't want my boys growing up learning how to be invisible. So, I started small. I purged our apartment, repainted the boys' room, bought a second-hand bookshelf, filled it with books about space, animal encyclopedias, graphic novels. Then I turned inward. I'd been stuck at the auto shop for 8 years. Decent pay, but no real growth. I'd been ignoring a side gig I used to love, fixing up old motorcycles and flipping them online. I pulled out a Yamaha I'd bought 2 years ago, stripped it down in the evenings, watched YouTube tutorials, spent what little extra I had on parts. 2 months later, it sold in 3 days for a $2,000 profit. That was the first time in a long time I felt something besides anger or bitterness. It was pride. So I did it again. Bought another bike, rebuilt it, sold it. I started a little savings fund. The garage jar. Meanwhile, that legal document kept tugging at me. I finally took it to Daniel, an old high school friend who became a lawyer. We met at a diner. I slid the folder across the table. He raised an eyebrow. "Where'd you get this?" "My grandfather. My dad wanted me to have it." He read it twice. "Liam," he said slowly, "this is real. Legally binding. If this holds up, and it looks like it will, you own 1/3 of that property. And if they've been collecting rent on it for years without distributing your share, then they owe you money. Quite possibly, a lot of it." I didn't know whether to laugh or feel sick. I went home and sat on the couch. Boys were in bed, their doors ajar. I could hear Noah's soft breathing, Caleb talking in his sleep. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about money or land. It was about them. Giving them something I never had. A family that didn't pretend they were invisible. I started documenting everything. Texts, dates, names, Grandpa Arthur's voice message. Printed it all, put it in a binder, property and family history. Part catharsis, part preparation. A confrontation was coming. I kept rebuilding. Applied for a loan, leased a small garage on the edge of town. Concrete floors, busted vending machine, flickering light. But it was mine. Rust and revival. Word spread. Guys from the shop sent projects. Friends brought bikes. Even the high school auto club asked to volunteer. Noah helped on weekends, organizing tools. Caleb drew chalk murals, telling customers their motorcycles were sick. Every time I looked at them in that garage, I felt like I'd come up for air. Then spring. I hadn't spoken to Mom or Hannah in nearly 3 months when I got a call from an unknown number. Voicemail. It was Ryan. "Hey, Liam. I don't know what kind of stuff Grandpa's been feeding you, but Hannah told me you've been asking about the land. Listen, let's not make this a thing, okay? The family has always taken care of that property. You've never been involved, so let's just leave it. Don't stir things up." I played it twice. Angry the first time. The second time I laughed. He had no idea how far along I already was. I didn't respond. Instead, Daniel filed a formal notice requesting all financial records for the property over the last decade. Rent collected, repairs paid, profit distributions. Everything. That's when the real fallout began. Mom called, left a voicemail so long the transcript clipped. Righteous indignation. How dare I question her? Guilt. "After all I've done for you, I'm just trying to hold the family together." Then Hannah texted, "Really, Liam? Going after Mom's property? Do you need money that badly?" That stung. But I didn't respond. I kept working. Building. That summer, Rust and Revival became profitable. I hired a part-time assistant, started a website. A biker magazine featured our custom rebuilds. The boys asked if they could invite friends to the garage. Noah built a go-kart from scrap. Caleb filmed silly mechanic videos. For the first time, I wasn't chasing approval. I was building a life, quietly, stubbornly, brick by brick. But I knew it couldn't stay quiet forever. The property paperwork triggered something big. A letter arrived in July. Legal letterhead. My name in bold. A notice of intent. My mother was preparing to sell the property. All of it. Including my share. When I saw that envelope, I already knew. Didn't need to open it to feel the gut punch. Something in me had been waiting for this moment, for the other shoe to drop, for the mask to come off. But even with all the signs, seeing it in writing still knocked the wind out of me. The letter outlined the sale of the family land. My mother named as the sole contact. But at the bottom, in fine print, if you are a co-owner or beneficiary with legal claim, you may contest the sale within 30 days. 30 days. That's what I had. I sat on the steps outside the garage, staring at it. Noah was inside, sanding a gas tank. Caleb skateboard, yelling, "Watch out, citizen." They didn't know. I wasn't ready to explain. But I wasn't panicking. This time, I had something they didn't think I had: receipts. Daniel and I had been preparing for months. We had bank statements, documentation of rental income, Arthur's original ownership document. A paper trail showing income went into Mom's private account, despite my legal claim. It wasn't just shady, it was illegal. The next day, Daniel filed a cease and desist. It stopped everything cold. The developer, likely unaware of the drama, backed out. Mom didn't call. Hannah did. "You're unbelievable." "Do you know what this means for Mom?" That sale was going to pay off her debts. I didn't reply. The deeper we dug, the more I realized this wasn't just about inheritance. Mom had leveraged the property for years. Private loans, pocketing rent, possibly committing tax fraud. A house of cards. I had just pulled the bottom one out. But I wasn't looking to destroy anyone. Not yet. I wanted accountability. Someone to admit what they did wasn't just rude or forgetful. It was a pattern. A choice. So, I made my own plan. I wouldn't fight this behind closed doors. I wanted every crack in their facade exposed. And the perfect opportunity fell into my lap. My cousin Paige was getting married in September. Big wedding. Outdoor ceremony at the family farmhouse. My farmhouse. She didn't know about the dispute. She was one of the few who'd always been kind to me. She messaged me on Facebook, asking if I was coming. I asked where it was being held. "At your grandpa's old place, of course," she wrote. Hannah said it would be perfect. Oh, did she now? I told her I'd think about it. Then forwarded the conversation to Daniel. "This is it," I told him. "We're not just blocking a sale anymore. We're reclaiming the land. All of it." Daniel was cautious. "If you push now, it'll be ugly. Public. They'll fight back." "I know," I said. "Good." We escalated. Daniel drafted a formal ownership claim, backed by Dad's signed transfer. Due to years of mismanagement and financial abuse, I wasn't just entitled to my third. I was pursuing either a forced sale to split proceeds or full control of my portion, including physical access. In simpler terms, pay me out or I'm using my land. That's when the threat started. Hannah sent a voice note, her voice shaking with rage. "You're tearing this family apart over what? Some stupid legal document Grandpa dug up? You think this makes you important? You were never part of this, Liam. You checked out a long time ago." She wasn't wrong. I had checked out. But now I realized that was by design. They wanted me out. The quiet one, the one they could ignore. They made sure I stayed on the outside so they could keep everything that mattered on the inside. But I wasn't outside anymore. A week later, I drove to the property. The driveway overgrown. The barn still leaned. Wind smelled like cut grass and wood smoke. I parked, unlocked the gate with the old key Grandpa Arthur once gave me in a dusty shoebox, and walked right in. That evening, I posted a photo of the barn on Instagram. No caption. Just the barn. The next morning, Mom visited. Pulled up like she was on enemy territory. No hello. No small talk. Just stood there, arms folded. "You really think this is going to end well for you?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No, I think it's going to start well for my boys." She scoffed. "You don't know what you're doing." "Sure, I do," I said. "I'm standing on my land. You just didn't think I'd ever figure it out." She didn't yell or cry. She just turned, walked back to her car, slamming the door harder than necessary. I let her go. The next few weeks were tense. Rumors flew. Hannah tried to rally the family, telling everyone I was mentally unstable and trying to steal. But here's the thing about being the black sheep. No one expects you to play smart. No one sees it coming. And I wasn't done yet. I started fixing up the barn. Cleaned out the loft, cleared brush, put up new private property, no trespassing signs. I filed for a business license to use the barn as an event space, my event space. And I made sure Paige knew. When she called, confused, asking if the wedding was still happening there, I told her the truth. Hannah never had permission to offer the property, I said gently. But if you want to get married here, I'd be happy to host you. No charge. You've always been kind to me. A long silence. Then she said, I don't want to get in the middle. You don't have to, I replied. But just know, I'm not in the middle anymore. I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. The wedding was moved. Hannah was furious. Another message from Ryan, veiled legal threats. Daniel handled it. We were preparing for the next step. One last card I hadn't played, the financial records. Every dollar they made from my share of the land. Every check cashed, every tax form skipped. I had it all. And soon, so would the court. But I didn't want to strike yet. Not until the time was perfect. And that time was coming. One more family gathering was on the calendar. Grandpa Arthur's birthday. And this year, I had a surprise of my own. Grandpa Arthur's birthday was a Sunday in early October. The kind of crisp day where the sky is too blue and the leaves are just starting to catch fire. He was turning 91. Sharp as ever. Stubborn. Funny. Still the center of the family. My mother planned brunch at her house, potluck style as always. She sent the invite 2 weeks early, like nothing had happened. No mention of the lawsuit. No blocked property sale. No wedding drama. Like she'd hit reset and expected us to play along. I almost didn't go. But then Grandpa Arthur called me personally. I want to see my boys, he said, voice gravelly but strong. All 3 of you. So I said yes, but I didn't tell him what I had planned. That morning, I dressed up. Clean jeans, colored shirt, shined boots. I brought Noah and Caleb. They wore matching flannel, slightly too big. They helped me carry a tray of warm cinnamon rolls we'd baked. We showed up 5 minutes early. I was done being late for things I deserved to be part of. The living room was full. Hannah and Ryan, standing like royalty. Ryan's eyes narrowed when he saw me. Mom arranged coffee mugs. Her smile froze. Liam, she said. You came? I was invited, I replied, handing her the cinnamon rolls. The boys made a beeline for Grandpa Arthur, seated by the window, wearing a cardigan, a smile so wide it softened every sharp edge I'd been carrying. He hugged them both, ruffled their hair, and looked at me like he already knew what was coming. We ate. Small talk, tension just beneath the surface. Everyone pretending. I didn't interrupt. Not yet. After brunch, as people milled about, I pulled a manila envelope from my coat pocket and walked to the center of the room. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. I've got something to share, I said. Heads turned. Mom's face tensed. Hannah looked annoyed. Ryan smirked, ready to cut me off. I opened the envelope. Pulled out 3 neatly stapled packets. I've spent the last 8 months working with a legal team to confirm my ownership of the family property. I held up the first packet. According to this, I own 1/3 of the land. That includes the house, the barn, and the surrounding acres. Silence. You could hear the fridge humming. I held up the second. And according to this, for over 10 years, rent has been collected on my portion without my knowledge or consent. Those funds were funneled into a private account, Mom's. No distributions. No record shared. Just stolen income. Gasps. Someone dropped a fork. And the third, I lifted the last packet. This is the formal complaint being filed with the county court to demand either a full buyout of my share or the forced sale of the entire property, which includes retroactive compensation for all unpaid rent and interest. It's already signed and submitted. Ryan stood up, red-faced. You can't just, I can, I said. And I did. And just so you know, the property has been reappraised. It's worth almost triple what it was 5 years ago. So, you've been stealing from me and from my kids while playing pretend family for years. Mom opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Hannah finally said, You're tearing the family apart over money. I turned to her, calm, cold. No. I'm tearing down the illusion that you built a life on fairness and love. When my sons were left empty-handed 2 Christmases in a row while your kids opened the presents they had wished for, that wasn't about money. That was about cruelty. And when you used my share of the family land to try and fund your lifestyle, that wasn't about inheritance. That was theft. Then I looked at Grandpa Arthur. I'm sorry this is happening at your party, sir. But I figured if there was one day to set the record straight, it should be the day we all come together to honor the man who never treated me like an outsider. His eyes welled up. He nodded softly. About time. I walked over and handed him a single folded sheet of paper. A letter. I wanted you to be the first to read this. He unfolded it, read in silence. Finished, wiped his eyes, handed it back. I'm proud of you, he said. I turned to leave. But before I did, I looked back at Mom. Don't contact me unless it's through legal counsel. This was your choice. You made it when you pretended I wasn't part of this family. I just finally agreed with you. Noah and Caleb followed me out the door without looking back. We got in the truck. I didn't say much. Neither did they. But halfway home, Noah said, Dad, yeah, that was kind of awesome. Caleb nodded solemnly, like in a movie. And that's when I realized they'd seen everything. Every slight. Every time they were left out. Every time I told them to hold their heads high anyway. And now they'd seen me do it. They'd seen me fight. The court ruled in my favor 3 months later. I was awarded not only my full share, but back payment of 8 years' worth of rental income, plus damages. My portion came out to just over $214,000. Enough to buy a house outright. So I did. Not a mansion, nothing fancy, but a real place with a yard, a workshop out back, and enough bedrooms for the boys to each have their own space. I built a new garage on the property and moved Rust and Revival there. My business grew. My reputation grew. I hired 2 more mechanics and started offering weekend classes for teens who wanted to learn. Hannah tried to rally the family against me. It didn't work. Too many people had seen the truth. She stopped speaking to me. Ryan's firm was quietly audited a few months after our showdown. I didn't have anything to do with that. At least, I don't think I did. And my mother? She called once, left a voicemail saying she wanted to talk. I never called back. Some bridges aren't meant to be burned. Some were never bridges to begin with. Just fences you were taught to be grateful for. But now I build my own roads. And this time, I bring my boys with me every mile of the way. After everything, do you think I handled that final confrontation the right way?